The Sony RX100 reinvented the point-and-shoot as we know it, offering users a large 1-inch sensor, wide aperture lens, and incredible video quality, all in a body that could fit in your pocket. The camera allowed for highly discreet video recording and photography and was priced quite fairly at about $1,000. In March of 2016, Panasonic released the ZS100, a point-and-shoot aimed to compete with the RX100, offering many of the same features and adding a few more into the mix, notably a much longer zoom range than the RX100. Most importantly, it's currently priced $300 cheaper than the RX100 V, providing a strong incentive to would-be Sony owners. I've been testing the camera now for a little while, and I have to say I've been very impressed. The camera is somewhat heavy for being so small, but the weight improves the stability of the camera when recording video and taking images, and assures me of its high build quality. I'm not suggesting you go out and drop it, but the frame does feel quite sturdy in the hand. One of the headline features of this camera is its ability to record 4K video, similar to its bigger brother, the Lumix G7, which falls into the same price point. I'm happy to report the video quality is quite nice, capturing accurate color and providing an organic, somewhat filmic image right out of the camera. The image is compressed quite nicely, and the file sizes are very reasonable for 4K. The image stabilization is very good, and the camera is a nice option for vlogging thanks to its inbuilt 5-axis stabilization. This stabilization works so well, a tripod or gimbal is more of a nice to have than so much of a need to have. However, while the camera is stabilized in 4K, the 5-axis stabilization is only active in 1080p. I've included a short 1080p example to demonstrate the camera's vlogging abilities. Alright guys, so I'm trying to do a test of the camera's vlogging abilities. You're listening to the inbuilt mic. Panasonics are generally not known for super great mics, so probably doesn't sound that great. But so far I've been really impressed with the image stabilization on this camera. And the autofocus is honestly, a lot better than I expected, especially for a Panasonic. I'm shooting right now in full auto mode in 1080p, and there's a couple 4K samples in this video, but you should notice that the exposure is changing quite quickly and quite efficiently. And honestly, it's just a really nice image. The 1-inch sensor really is a good size. It's not the biggest in the world, but for a point and shoot, it's giant. And honestly, guys, I've been really impressed so far. I think that I might call this one the RX100 killer. $700, guys, you're getting 4K video. Seriously, guys, 4K video for $700 with a 1-inch sensor. The viewfinder is actually pretty good. It's not the sharpest thing in the world, but you're getting a viewfinder on a $700 point and shoot, so can you really complain? Only thing that I'd say that especially would make vlogging better is it doesn't have a flip out LCD, so basically having to eyeball this. But honestly, guys, I would say good vlogging camera if that's what you're thinking about. And the stabilization seems pretty good. If you're looking for a fully featured 4K shooter and don't want to spend more than $700, I'd steer you towards the ZS100 rather than the G7, as the G7's kit lens is not nearly as sharp as a Leica glass found on this model, and lets in significantly less light. However, for those who prefer the ability to switch lenses out, the G7 is a far more practical choice. On the other hand though, if what you want is a camera ready to take professional photos and videos right out of the box, then this is your camera. Battery life was quite good, and often lasted a full day of casually shooting photo and video. Thankfully, the battery is removable, so professionals will likely want to carry more. The Leica lens in this camera is truly excellent, offering a focal range of 25 to 250 millimeters and providing users with a wide f2.8 aperture at 25 millimeters. As you zoom in, the camera closes down all the way to f5.6, which is still impressive for 250 millimeters. That zoom is a big reason to consider this camera over the RX100, which only features 28 to 100 millimeters of focal range, translating to about 5 times zoom. While the Sony does offer a wider maximum aperture of f1.8, I would imagine the superior zoom of the ZS100 will appeal to more people. Leica is an incredibly well-respected brand in the world of photography and has offered exceptional lenses and bodies for years. Their partnership with Panasonic has led to many Lumix cameras having Leica glass. This lens is incredibly sharp and offers performance I'd expect from a lens costing more than this whole camera package. The camera's autofocus system is quite good. It's a bit behind the face detection system of the RX100 V, as the Lumix will occasionally lose focus, but on the whole, it's surprisingly excellent for video, and as shown in my earlier example, more than good enough for vlogging. The 1-inch sensor means bokeh shots are a little bit harder to grab on this camera, but when you zoom in the focal length a bit, the background can be very nicely blurred. I really haven't noticed any difference in image quality when compared to the APS-C sensor cameras I've tested, and I'd say this camera has superior image quality compared to my current Canon T2i plus Nifty 50 lens setup. While reviewing the camera has been an overwhelmingly positive experience, not everything was perfect. I would have appreciated a flip-out articulating LCD for vlogging, and the electronic viewfinder, while nice to have, is not the most sharp, and it seemed kind of small to me. However, when you're out in the bright sun, it can really come in handy. The LCD is quite bright, and the multi-touch screen is incredibly responsive and sharp. The menu system was fairly intuitive, and I had no trouble coming from Canon. I've been quite impressed with the color coming out of this camera. Skin tones look natural, and overall the colors are very pleasant and don't look overly digital. The auto white balance works very well, and low light performance is acceptable. This is no A7S, and ISO performance has never been a strong point for Panasonic. However, indoor shots and video look alright, but noise starts to become visible fairly quickly. The auto mode for video works surprisingly well, doing an excellent job switching exposure quickly and creating shallow depth of field shots whenever possible. If you're a YouTuber, photographer, or filmmaker looking for a camera that provides excellent image quality right out of the box and doesn't require you to go out and buy tons of accessories like lenses and stabilizers, then this is an excellent choice. At this price point, I would recommend it over the RX100 V because of the bang for your buck features you get. The Panasonic color science has really come a long way, and I'd say right out of the camera the colors look better than the Sony RX100 V, to my eyes anyway. Color is of course extremely subjective, so that's something you'll need to decide for yourself. If you've been saving money for an RX100 and aren't quite there, do yourself a favor and pick this camera up. I know you won't be disappointed. If you like this video, go on and check out the rest of Ericsson Films for high production technology reviews, audio-video tutorials, and filmmaking tips and tricks. And if you do decide to pick up the ZS100, go ahead and use my affiliate link in the description, as I get a small kickback at no extra cost to you. Until next time, Christian from Ericsson Films, wishing you guys a happy new year, and signing out.